Welcome into the Ashes to Awakening podcast with your host, Christian Huskins. I'm super excited to have you here today. But before we go into today's episode, I just want to pause and bring an announcement forward. And that is, I am now accepting applications for my one-on-one coaching program. If you have been someone that's done the work, you've listened to all these podcasts, you've done the journaling, you've gone to therapy, you've read every book, trying to manifest, and still you feel stuck. Maybe you keep ending up in the same relationships, different people, different names. Yet the energy, the behaviors, and the patterns are all the same, even though you swore next time would be different. Maybe you know exactly why you do what you do, yet you have the inability to insert the pause to change the behavior. Maybe you're exhausted from being the strong one, the fixer, the one who holds it all together for everyone else, pouring into everybody while no one is pouring into you. And you're certainly not taking the time to pour into yourself. All the while, feeling like you're falling apart silently on the inside. Maybe you've shrunk down who you are so many times to keep the peace, to be accepted, that when you look in the mirror, you don't even know who you are anymore. I want you to know that I hear you, I see you, and I understand you. So what if one day you could just stop? You could just sit still and look at the ashes at your feet. The relationships that burned, the versions of you that you had to let go of, the pain that you swallowed to survive. And you realize something in that moment, that those ashes are not your ending. They are your beginning. Not just surviving what happened to you, but rising from it. And that is what I mean by ashes to awakening. I built this specifically for you. So applications are now open for my Elite Emotional Freedom Platinum Coaching Program. If something that I said today made your chest tighten, that is not coincidence, it's awareness. The link to apply is in the show notes. Say yes to yourself today. You are worth it. Now let's get to today's episode. Welcome back, guys, to the Ashes to Awakening podcast with your host, Christian Huskins. I feel so incredibly blessed to have you here listening with me today. Whether you're in a car driving, right before bed, at work, or just taking a time out, sometimes we need to do that. I'm very grateful that you are here. I know the last couple months have been pretty challenging for people, me included. I've had a couple of seasons the last couple of weeks. So I just want to start off this episode by doing a quick nervous system breathing exercise to really help recenter the nervous system. Your nervous system will not allow you to fully receive this information today if it's in survival mode. Some of you don't even know you're in survival mode because that's all you've ever been in. So you can continue doing these breath counts as I go through the material. I just want to walk you through one so that you know how to do it. So we're going to take in a nice deep breath to the count of 5, holding it for the count of 4, and exhaling for the count of 7 and really letting it go. Gently, but really letting it go. Release any tension, stress, anxiety, anger, fear, whatever that might be that's weighing on you, and you may not even know what it is. It just might feel like a heavy feeling in your chest and your tummy, on your shoulders. But whatever that looks like or feels like for you, just letting it go. It serves no purpose here. And today I want to invite you to set intention. Give yourself permission to just be. Be still, be present, be intentional, be open. With no judgment, no criticism, no shame or blame. I know a lot of times when we're listening to these types of podcasts or workshops, we instantly stop listening and attach blame to our story. And when we do that, we actually tune out what's being said to us because it's easier to attach blame. So if you feel yourself doing that today, or maybe even feeling some resistance to want to turn this off, I really want to invite you to insert the pause and stay here with me in this present moment. Allow yourself to just be open to the awareness. Take what lands and leave the rest behind. So if you haven't grabbed your notebook or something to write with, I would highly recommend that you do that because you may find yourself really reflecting on today's conversation. I have a feeling that you're going to probably see a little bit of yourself, or perhaps your own children, or someone that you love, maybe a family member, with what we're going to discuss today. Okay, so today we're continuing season 1, which is the origin of you. And I want to share something with you that's been on my heart. I'm really super excited about it. And that is starting August 3rd, we will start season 2, which is behavior development. It's probably one of my favorite topics to talk about. We're going to dive into the 8 stages of human behavior development. And we're going to walk through each stage one at a time, 1 week at a time. So it's going to be an 8-week series. We'll explore what develops in this stage, what doesn't develop, and what can happen when those developmental needs aren't fully met, and how those patterns show up in our adult life. But more importantly, how we can strengthen and heal those areas at any point in our life. Okay? So before we get there, I just want to plant a seed. And the one thing I want you to remember as we move through these seasons is that behavior, every behavior, tells a story. Our job isn't to judge the behavior, it's to understand the story behind it. Okay? I don't believe that people are broken. I believe behavior is communication. And if behavior is communication, then every behavior is trying to tell us something. Through all of my years of coaching, healing my own trauma, raising my 6 kids, walking alongside hundreds of clients, and studying human behavior and relationships for the last decade, I've really learned something that really has benefited me on how I look at people. And that is behavior doesn't just happen, okay? Behavior develops. And it develops in stages. And how many of us have had children and are like, oh, they'll just outgrow it? Well, they don't outgrow it. It can become a pattern in a different type of behavior, but the behavior is still there. Okay? So think of it as like building a house. We don't start with the roof and work our way down. We begin with the foundation, and every layer supports the one that came before it. So our emotional and behavioral development works the same way. Each stage really builds on the previous stage. So when a child receives what they need during the season of development, okay, they're building a stronger foundation for the next stage that's to develop. But when a child doesn't receive what they need, whether that's emotional safety, emotional availability, consistency is a huge one, watching their parents heal so that they can model healthy behaviors, encouragement, connection, or just simply caretakers who understood how to meet those developmental needs, okay? It doesn't mean that the child is broken. It just simply means that there may be an area that never had the opportunity to fully develop. So the one thing I want you to think about is if something can develop during childhood, it will also be strengthened during adulthood. So if we have a behavior that develops at, let's say, 3 years old, every time we repeat that behavior, it gets stronger and stronger. Okay? Which as an adult can make it appear that it's, I'm not able to heal that part. but you can. It's just working with the right person. Okay. But the behaviors do strengthen into adulthood if you don't heal them. Okay. And that's why I don't ask my clients, what's wrong with you, or why would you, or how did you? Instead, I ask, what didn't you get the chance to fully develop? As a child, what may have happened or may a behavior that didn't get a chance to fully develop? And that question changes everything. It like loosens the grip, okay? Because once we stop judging ourselves, we can finally begin to understand ourselves and others. Understanding creates awareness. Awareness creates choice. Choice creates transformation. So let's get into it. Today we're talking about boundaries. And I just want for a minute to talk about the real, everyday, sometimes exhausting kind. So if you're raising a child or children, or maybe you're a teacher or a daycare provider, you probably already know what I'm going to say. So we're going to talk about the meltdown over the wrong cup, the no that comes out of nowhere over something so small, the refusal to give grandma a hug. Maybe they wrap themselves around your leg when you're trying to give grandma a hug from them, okay? Maybe they refuse to wear the shirt that you laid out or eat what you put on their plate. This can feel very defiant. I get it. And it can also feel very disrespectful. But some days it can absolutely wear you down. I'm a mom of 6. I can tell you I totally understand this. And it does wear you down if you don't know how to handle it. Okay? But most of the time, guys, it's not defiance. It's development or lack thereof. Okay? Somewhere in those early years, children are really, really working through some of these big questions, but they don't have the words to ask them out loud. They don't have their voice yet. They don't know how to explain how they're feeling. Okay, they have questions like, is my voice important? Am I allowed to make choices? Is it okay for me to say no? Okay. That's why, when they're going through these seasons and they're learning how to try to ask these questions, they might get angry because they don't know how to express themselves. Okay. So just have some awareness for that. So whether we realize it or not, how we respond in those small, frustrating moments becomes part of their blueprint of childhood development that they carry into adulthood. Okay? So that's the piece that we will dig in the next season. Season 2, we'll be talking about the 8 stages of behavior, 1 stage at a time. But for today, I want to keep it simple and practical and talk about the 5 ways or the 5 steps to help strengthen our child's boundaries and to help strengthen this stage, not only in children, but within ourselves as well. Okay, so let's dive into it. So step number 1, give them a voice. One of the greatest gifts that you can give a child is helping them believe that their voice matters. That doesn't mean that children run the household. It means giving them an age-appropriate opportunity to make choices and express themselves. Ask questions. What do you think about this? What shirt would you like to wear today? Would you rather have apples or strawberries? Okay, those little decisions might seem insignificant, but they're really not. Okay, they are building something so much bigger. And when I learned the illusion of choice, which is giving them 2 choices and allowing them to choose, you get so much further with that than telling them that they're going to have apples. Okay? You can't do it all the time because they'll pick up on it. But how many of you have watched your child come downstairs with a different shirt that doesn't match their shorts and you're like, go change? Okay. That's just why being open and asking what shirt they want to wear and allowing them to wear it, regardless if they match or not. Okay? Because that is helping build confidence. You're teaching your child my opinion matters, my thoughts matter, my needs matter, my choices matter. As adults, that foundation often becomes the ability to communicate clearly, express your needs respectfully, and establish healthy boundaries without guilt. So if you're an adult out there that is a, husband or wife, you have a husband or wife who, gosh, you ask, what do you want for dinner? And you get, I don't know. Even though you want steak, you have such a hard time saying it. So husbands, wives, if your spouse, partner, whatever is like this, or even your children, and they can't make a decision, that means that this area of development, this behavior development, was not properly developed. Okay? So let's go into step 2, which is respect their boundaries. And you're probably going, what? Well, one of the very first boundaries children learn is around their own body. Many of us, including myself, grew up hearing, go hug Aunt Susan. Go give Grandpa a kiss. Go sit next to Aunt Linda. Go sit on Aunt Linda's lap. She hasn't seen you. Stop being rude. So while those requests, I know they did for me, okay? And I'm telling you this, I don't sit here and think, oh, yeah, I do all of this perfectly, all of the things, because I don't. I've learned and I do now, but before all of my healing and my education, I did all of this, okay? So trust me, I know it comes from a place of love, but you can unintentionally teach children that someone else's comfort matters more than their own. Okay? Instead, we teach our children healthy choices, respectful choices. Like, would you like to give Aunt Susan a hug, high five, just say hello? Okay? Because we're teaching a lesson here. Your body belongs to you, and you can still be kind while honoring your boundaries. So if you take your kids to a family event and you ask your child, do you want to hug Aunt Linda? Do you want to give her a high five? And Aunt Linda is trying to smother this child. That is when you have to step in as well and insert healthy boundaries with them and say, you know what? That's not what they want to do. They just want to give you a high five. And that's okay. And if, Auntie gets mad or her feelings get hurt, those are her feelings. She's probably feeling some type of rejection, and that is a childhood wound within her that she needs to heal, okay? It's not for you to carry, and it's not for the child to carry. Okay? So we have to help the child learn how to have healthy boundaries by exhibiting those ourselves. Okay, and we'll talk about that in here a little bit. But, I have seen this with my own family that we'll go months and months, even years without seeing someone. And the moment we see them, it's like they're smothering the child. And it's like they don't know who you are. Okay? Like they haven't seen you. So we're teaching our children that their bodies are theirs. Their body is a diamond. Not everyone deserves the right to touch it. You're teaching healthy boundaries at a very young age so that they respect and love their body as they get older into teenage world. Okay? So children who learn healthy boundaries often grow into adults who both respect other people's boundaries and expect respect in return. Okay? So let's move on to step number 3. Let them try. Let them try. And this one makes me giggle. And I say that because guys, up until about, oh my gosh, probably 10 years ago, maybe 12 years ago, this was a huge issue for me. Huge issue. And I still have my minutes, right? I still have my minutes. But letting them try. As parents, it is natural to want to help, to step in, to fix, to do, to save, right? Sometimes it's easier to do things on our own. And golly, I went through this. Like, I was a single mom to 2 children before I met my husband today. And being a single mom, working, trying to make ends meet, trying to run a house, get home from work, cook dinner, help with the homework, get baths ready, get ready for bed, and then have 2 seconds to myself before I have to go to sleep. It was just easier for me to do everything by myself. So I couldn't even fathom setting the alarm for 5 minutes early. I couldn't. Okay, I'm going to set the alarm for 5 minutes early so that I can get up and allow my son 5 extra minutes to dress himself. There was no way that was happening. No way. I took every minute that I could. So I got up and I did everything for him. If I got home and I had chores to do, I wouldn't teach them how to do the chores. It was just easier for me to do it so that it got done. Okay. This is such a huge area, but I promise you, if you teach your children early this, it will help you so much as they get older. Okay. Because every time we rescue a child from something that they're really capable of attempting and doing, and maybe it's something that they have to try a couple of times, but they are capable. We unintentionally send the message to them, I don't think you can do it. I don't think you're capable. You're not good enough. Okay? Confidence isn't built in perfection. It's built through experience. It's built through allowing them to try, to fall short. Okay? Maybe they didn't quite get there. Maybe they fell short. And instead of looking at it as a failure, we look at it as a learning. What did you learn from that? What is your learning? Well, I should have done it this way. Okay. Implement the learning and go try it again. And they might fall a little bit short, but they got further this time. Perfect. What's your learning? Try again. That's how they build confidence, guys. By trying, falling short, getting the learning, trying again, and growing. Okay? So let them pour the milk. Let them pick out their shirt. Let them tie their shoes. Let them dress themselves. Will it take longer? Absolutely. Will it be messy? Probably. But confidence is almost always built in that mess. Okay? Promise. So number 4, let's step into number 4. Model healthy boundaries. Children become what they consistently observe. Okay? If they watch us consistently saying yes when we really want to say no, maybe we're on the phone with Aunt Linda and we're like, yeah, we'll go. We hang up the phone and we're like, I really didn't want to do that. Okay. Now they're seeing that you said yes, but you really didn't want to go. They're very observant, guys. Whether you think a 1-year-old is observing you, they are. Okay. Maybe you're putting, everyone else's needs before your own. Maybe you feel guilty for resting. You never ask for help, and then you're always stressed out. Okay. They begin believing that this is what healthy boundaries in adulthood look like. Okay. So instead, what we want them to hear is, I'd love to help, but I can't today. I need a little quiet time. I'm taking care of myself so I can show up as the best version of me. Okay? Children don't just learn boundaries from what we teach. They learn boundaries from what we model. And this is a huge one that exists in my house. That, I coach. I'm a life coach, relationship, behavior coach. I coach a lot of clients. And at the end of my day, I've dealt with a lot of emotion. And so I need 15, 20 minutes of downtime, whether that's listening to music, sitting outside when it's not 1,000 degrees outside, listening to a meditation, whatever that looks like, coloring for a little bit. My kids and my husband know that this is what I need. When I get done from work, I need quiet. My husband, when he gets home from work, he wants to play with the kids. So he plays Fortnite with the kids. That's his downtime. Okay? And we give each other that and we respect that space. So when I come out of my office, I work from home. When I come out of my office, my children know, let mom go do her thing. Because if I am met with, Mom, did you get the package? Mom, did you sign the paper? Mom, I need you to do this. Mom, I'm going to snap. And they know I just need to give mom 15, 20 minutes, maybe 30 some days. And then I can come back to them and say, hey guys, how was your day? Mom, did you get this package? Yes, I did. Okay, so I'm able to now have a discussion with my kids. My husband knows that it has nothing to do with him that I need a couple minutes to myself after work. And if I go straight from work to being a wife and mom and all of the things, my nervous system is in survival mode. And they are not going to get the best version of me. Okay? So really, that's something I want to challenge you guys with, is learning how to implement that in your own life. Whether it's taking a 15-minute bath, going on a 15-minute run, writing and journaling for 15, 20 minutes, coloring, listening to music. Give yourself that respect. Okay? And if your partner doesn't understand, then that there's some healing that needs to happen there with them, okay? So again, children don't just learn boundaries from what we teach. They learn boundaries from what we model. And if we ourselves don't know how to have healthy boundaries, we are unintentionally teaching our children how not to have healthy boundaries either. Okay? So number 5 is we separate behavior from identity. This is a huge one because here it is, guys. Children make mistakes. Adults make mistakes. Behavior should be corrected. Identity should always be protected. Okay? So instead of saying to your child, oh my God, you're lazy, you're selfish, you're a procrastinator, you never listen. Okay? Try saying, that wasn't a kind choice. Let's talk about what happened. Walk me through this. I know you're capable of making healthier decisions, healthier choices. Okay. One attacks who they are. When you put you in front of it, you are attaching identity. If you tell your child, you're lazy, you're a procrastinator, they then develop that behavior that this is who I am. I am a procrastinator. I'm lazy. And they will go through life continuing to exhibit that behavior because you have put that identity on them. Okay? So one attacks who they are, the other teaches what they did. So let's say, for example, a child, I don't know, does something that they shouldn't have, okay? Then we can sit down and say, okay, let's sit down and talk about this. Let's talk about what happened. Walk me through what happened. Do you, that wasn't a very kind choice. Do you understand that? Okay. Well, I know that you're capable of making healthier decisions, healthier choices. So what was your learning you got from this? And allow them to come up with the learning. And then say, okay, this is your learning. Can we apply that next time? Yes. Okay, perfect. Okay. So this is how we have that healthy discussion with our children. So one attacks who they are, the other teaches what they did. And children who know that they're loved while being corrected develop security instead of shame. Okay. And secure children become secure adults. So as we wrap up today's episode, I hope that you can see that healthy boundaries don't begin as adults. Okay, we don't learn to say no as an adult. It begins much, much earlier. It begins when children discover that they have a voice, that their thoughts matter, that they're capable, and that they can make mistakes or, they can fall short and still be loved. Okay. So whether you're raising children today or you're wanting to have children, or maybe you don't have children and you're a daycare provider or you're a teacher or you're around children at all, or you're recognizing areas that you never had the opportunity to fully develop these behaviors yourself, I want you to remember this. Growth doesn't end in childhood. And healing does not have an expiration date. I can't tell you how many 40, 50, 60-year-old individuals I run into that are like, no, I'm not going to heal. I'm already old. I'm already went through life like this. But imagine a life on the other side where you can breathe, where you can go after all the things that you want and not have that imposter syndrome or the inner critic telling you that you can't. It doesn't matter the age, guys. Healing is possible and should happen, okay? Every one of us has the ability to strengthen these areas throughout our lives. So before we go, I just want to invite you to do something with everything that we talked about today, because healing just doesn't happen by listening, okay? It happens by putting intention into it. So when we take what we've learned, become aware of the patterns in ourselves or in our children, and we intentionally begin putting this into practice, this is when we start healing, okay? So I have included a few resources in the show notes below. And some of these I use with my clients as well with the coaching. So these are free for you, so grab them while you can. The first one that you'll find is the Ashes to Awakening Reflection Worksheet. It's designed to help you really process today's episode and deeply begin connecting the dots between your childhood experiences and your present day behaviors. Okay. The next thing you'll see is a weekly awareness challenge. And I added a couple practices in there for you to practice during the week, because awareness creates choice. Remember that. So when we consistently practice, then it creates transformation. And finally, I invite you to take the free Healthy Boundary Quiz. And as you've listened today, you might have already started recognizing some of your own patterns, but this quiz will help you identify where your boundaries are really strong, where they may need some strengthening, or where your greatest opportunities for growth may be. Okay? It's not a failure. Remember that, guys. So you'll find all 3 resources linked below in the notes. So if today's episode really resonated with you, I encourage you to subscribe to the Ashes to Awakening podcast, because this is more than a podcast, guys. It's a journey of understanding yourself in a way that you've never have before. I wish we were taught this stuff long before, but we're not. So I do have 10 seasons already mapped out, and there's 8 episodes per season. So that's comes up to almost a year of content that I already have planned out for you guys. And so it's a journey that we're going to go through, and we're really going to uncover, who we are, which is what we're doing in season 1. Heal those childhood experiences that still influence your adult life, strengthen your emotional intelligence, regulating your nervous system with really positive coping mechanisms, breaking free from people-pleasing and unhealthy relationship patterns, and build healthy boundaries, communicate with greater confidence, discover your identity beyond your past, really stepping into your purpose, and ultimately become a leader in your life, your family, and the future that you deserve. Okay? So what we're doing here is awareness. If you're wanting that deeper healing, that really deeper coaching and healing, I invite you to book a connection discovery call with me. That link is in the show notes as well. And we can talk about what that looks like for you for some one-on-one coaching. Okay? Because my hope at the end of this journey, whether that's you listening to me here or really working with me, I really want you to be in the space where you're no longer asking, what is wrong with me? Or why is this happening to me? Okay? But instead asking questions like, what part of me still needs understanding instead of judgment? Giving yourself some self-love, okay? Or what did I learn because of this experience? What did my story teach me? And then is that learning still serving the life I want to create today? And if it's no, it's not serving you anymore, book a call with me, okay? When we stop judging ourselves, we start becoming curious. We create space for understanding, and understanding is where the healing begins. So I'd like to go ahead and leave you with this week's Ashes to Awakening reflection question. So get your paper and pencil out. And that question is, if my child, even if you don't have children, imagine that you do have a child, okay? If my child learned how to set boundaries by watching me, what would they have learned? Would they learn that it's okay to say no? Would they learn that their needs matter? Would they learn that rest isn't selfish? Would they learn that mistakes are part of growth? Or would they learn to put everyone else first? Would they learn to put their own needs last? Okay, there's no judgment here in this question. It's just awareness. Because awareness is the first step towards understanding. And again, understanding is where the healing happens. Every behavior tells a story. And our job isn't to judge the behavior. It's to understand the story behind it. So really spend some time with this question this week. Notice what comes up with no judgment, just curiosity. Because every moment of awareness moves you one step further from the ashes to the awakening. All right, guys. Well, that is a wrap for today's episode. And before I conclude here, I just want to sit with you and reflect. I want you to check in with yourself. Was there anything that landed with you today? Maybe something stirred in your body. Maybe it really resonated with you, made you lean in. Maybe you had the light bulb go off and that aha moment. Because if you did, just sit with it. Because that is what I call awareness. We are unable to change, heal, fix anything that we are not in awareness of. So now you do have the awareness. What are you going to do with it? Are you going to just feel it and stay stuck? Or imagine the possibilities. What would it feel like to step into that and use that awareness as the beginning to your healing journey? So I just want you to reflect on that today. Okay? So a couple of reminders that I just want to give you before I let you go. The first one is to subscribe to my podcast. The link is below in the notes. And when you do subscribe, not just follow, but subscribe, you are given access to my private community that is exclusive for my podcast subscribers. I have 3 different types and tiers of my subscription, depending on the level of support and access that you are needing and requiring. My entry level is going to be my supporter level, and that's going to be $9.99 a month. The next level up is going to be my deeper healing level. That's going to be $19.99 a month. And then my top tier is my inner circle level, and that is going to be $29.99 a month. Okay, so check those out, see if they're, what's going to work best for you, and subscribe so that you don't miss any content and extra content at that. The other thing I want to remind you of is if you've ever sat back and just wondered where Coach Christian gets all of this information that I coach or educate to, it's just not my education. It's just not my lived experience, but it's my full story. The rawness, the vulnerability, the honesty, and I model behavior for my clients. And so I lead from example to show that healing is possible. So my memoir is called Ashes to Awakening, From Trauma to Transformation, How My Story Became My Purpose. And you can find that on Amazon. The link is below in the show notes as well. You can obtain that on Kindle, Kindle Limited, paperback, and hardcover. And there's a lot of things in that story that I did not really want to share, but I did because I knew that there was somebody out there that needed to hear my story. It's about my childhood experiences, the programming, the trauma, all the things that I took into my adult life and how that affected my relationships in my adult life. Then I talk pretty in depth about my near-death experience that I had and how that was an awakening to my healing journey. And what got me to sit here in this chair in front of you so that you can hear me and know that healing is possible. Okay, so check it out. If you're someone that resonates with people, with their story, maybe you need to hear that to not feel alone, to take a step forward, check it out. Again, the link is in the show notes below. Okay? So, are you ready? Are you ready to go all in? Are you done feeling the way that you're feeling? Are you tired of feeling stuck? Then I invite you. Again, applications are open to apply for my Elite Emotional Freedom one-on-one platinum coaching program. And it is the most powerful one-on-one container that's out there. Okay, I work with a small number of clients, and the reason for that is so that I can be present and attentive. Okay, so again, the link to apply for that is also in the show notes below. So until next time, keep rising from the ashes. I believe in you. See you next time.